How's going guys, welcome to the channel. In this video we are gonna see, what if Naruto got harem with Moka, Rias and Kuroka. Part 1. Huge shout out to Arashi no Yami for this story. If you wants to see awesome fanfiction like this, don't forget to subscribe. Now let's get into the video. Akasha Bloodriver was a woman with long pink hair tied by a black bow, she had a fair skin and 2 green emerald eyes. The woman wore a large black Victorian-style gown, along with a heeled platform. At the moment she was cupping her chin with her pacing back and forth in front of her daughters, Moka and Kokoa. Behind Akasha stood her husband, Issa Shuzen, who was trying to defuse the situation as best as he could. The reason for Akasha being so angered was that her daughters wanted to go to the human world. Suddenly Akasha stopped walking back and forth the room, she turned to face both girls and approached Moka. Moka gulped, she knew it wasn't the best idea to go to the human world, but Kokoa persisted into going. The little girl kept crying and annoying her until she gave in and asked their parents. Which wasn't a good idea. Moka, when I asked you to take care of your little sister, I expected you to be more mature. Akasha scolded, the fact that you are planning to take Kokoa to the human world shows that I may have misplaced my trust. Meanwhile Moka just glared at Kokoa, it was her fault she was in this mess. Now tell me exactly why you want to go the human world. This is women could sometimes be so troublesome, and that proves it when Akasha kept paced back and forth from the palace living room. Eventually the woman stopped walking and sent Moka, his beloved the daughter, a stern look. Moka gulped, she knew it wasn't the best idea to go to the human world, but Kokoa wanted to go there, not to mention she kept on crying and won't stop annoying her, wasn't getting any better, and today she has enough with Kokoa's rambling, and finally told their mother and father. Akasha crossed her arms, sending Moka a demanded look. Moka, I know you could take care of Kokoa, but why of all places you picked the human world? It's because I wanted to gain more experience with other races. Moka choked out whilst looking at her mother's eyes, the girl sighed in relief when her mother's glare seemed to soften. You could just do that by being inside the castle. There's no need to go to the human world. I could ask a couple of friends from different races to visit the castle, so there's no need for the both of you to go to the human world. But Kasama. It wouldn't be the same. Kokoa yelled out, finally having found the will to say what she wanted to. Akasha looked at her youngest daughter, unlike Moka who always enjoyed fighting and training, Kokoa was a bit more than that, she likes to fight, yes, but she was a curious one, and once she set her sights for something she'll go to the end of the earth to get it, and that fate happens to be hers. Or she would make a hard decision whether sending them to the human world or let them remain here and do whatever they wanted. Please Kasama. Pleaded Kokoa, not able to take the silence. Akasha inwardly sighed, it seemed that Kokoa was on the brink of tears. It's alright, Akasha interrupted her husband who was now sitting on the couch. Shuzen Issa was the leader of the Shuzen castle, and he was currently known as the strongest vampire. He was a very proud vampire, but still he loved all his daughters, and the thought of them crying hurt his heart. Kokoa Moka, he paused and crossed his arms on his chest, I'll allow you to go there to gain more experience. He was interrupted by Kokoa who started cheering and dancing around the living room of the palace, it was actually amusing to see her dancing weirdly. Moka however wasn't so amused and sent Kokoa a glare, shutting her up and stopping her celebration dance. However Issa noticed a smile on her face. Akasha sent her husband a deadly glare, she was worried that something might overcome her daughters in the human world. Humans weren't exactly known for their compassion and kindness towards monsters. And contrary to what you might think, I won't send you to the regular humans. Issa remarked, raising one off her eyebrow. Don't tell me he's going to send them there. Before continuing, Issa winked at Akasha. The humans in the world where I'll send you are different from the humans you know, you shouldn't associate yourself with any human over there, and you have to pretend being civilians, even though they have some special powers. Startled at first, Moka asked. And why is that too, Sama? Human having some special powers, surely what kind of human species are they to have that kind of powers? And contrary to the humans of our world, the humans in that place are not powerless and weak, in fact most of the humans there are capable of handling C to A ranked monsters. Issa answered, surprising both children, their leaders and elite forces are a whole different matter entirely, they are easily on the level of any S-class monster, and some are even stronger than me. But you never told us what kind of special powers they have. Moka stated, more like a question in a demanding tone that even him couldn't help but wanted to answer. Yes, you are right, Musume, daughter. Issa smile, you see, unlike us, yokai, we convert the energy around us to strengthen our body, enhance our speeds and double up our powers. Those humans use their inner energy, calling forth what they would call us chakra, and use it to make powerful techniques, enhance their hearing, speeds, and many more that would make them deadly. Papa, how do you know all that? The now calmed down Kokoa asked, humans could handle S-class monsters. Wow, they must be awesome to have that kind of special powers. Well, it's because I've been there before. And I have fought one of them whereas he came up to the top. Issei answered honestly in shame. You lost to a human? Both of them thought startled hearing him saying that, looking at the man father nodding in shame. Well, your father is strong, he lacks something, chimed in Akasha, making him twitch, sending her a don't you dare tell them looks. What is that, Kasama? Asked Cocoa nervously, looking back and forth between her father and mother. He was too arrogant, thinking that a mere human was too weak in his comparison, and that led him to his downfall. Ah, but now I don't do that anymore, Akasha. Whined Issa, crying and I'm tears, sulking somewhere, earning a sweat dropped from both children, whereas Akasha smiled and tried her best not to laugh. This side of her husband was amusing. Akasha took that moment to sit on the couch and looked at the children with a worrisome gaze. Just be careful, she spoke with a tender voice. Even if knowing where Issa sent them, she still couldn't shake the bad feeling her guts was telling her. Don't worry, Kasan. We will be back in no time. An excited Cocoa exclaimed, whereas Moka shook her head but smiled nonetheless. Issa regained his composure and opened a portal in front of the girls as they walked through. Just before they vanished, they could hear Akasha yell, be careful. Meanwhile, Konohagakure no Sado. Uzumaki Naruto was a child around 10 years old. He has 2 beautiful blue eyes. He has 6 birthmarks like whiskers on his cheeks. His usually wore a plain white t-shirt that has a fire symbol printed on the front of it. He also wearing a pair of black shorts and blue ninja sandals given by the 3rd Hokage. He was a very handsome child and fun once you get to know him, but most children tend to stay away from him because of their parents warning them that he was nothing but trouble. Naruto was walking down the same usual path back to his apartment. It wasn't a cozy apartment, but it was his only place where he could call home. Naruto stopped when he saw some thugs waiting on the street towards his home. The blonde shook the feeling of fear and continued walking. He wasn't worried about them. He have something else in mind, and that is to master the clone jutsu. The 10-year-old boy was worried that he haven't mastered the jutsu yet. Student after students would call him a loser, dope, and idiot. Nevertheless, he wasn't worried about that. No, what worries him was not graduating the academy and not having any friends. Nevertheless, Naruto sighed in relief when he passed the thugs. It seemed that they had something else in mind, and whatever it was, he doesn't want to know about it. On his way home, the blonde tripped over a small stone and his face was buried by the dirt. The blonde groaned and then a bright light seemed to surround the area. He didn't know what it was, but he was positive that he could see 2 people walking out of some strange swirling portal and ran towards the forest. A smile came upon his face. He decided to follow the girls to see what they were after. A couple hours later. Moka looked at the panting Cocoa with sweat dripping down her face. She narrowed her eyes when she saw Cocoa pour all her Yokai into her hand and charged forward to hit her in the head with a one-shot punch. Moka sighed and dodged the punch rather easily and punched her in the face. The girl huffed, it's over, Moka stated, turning around. But Cocoa is not done. She wanted to show her that she has grown up, she has become stronger than the previous years, and she wanted to prove that to her great one Isama. Not expecting Cocoa to get up and kick her in the chest. She went flying and crashed against a tree with a loud crash. How was that one, Isama? Cheered Cocoa when she saw her hit the tree, crushing it down. Moka had a lot of bruises on her body and a trail of blood trailing down her lips. The silver-headed vampire imitates a low growl as she stand up and glare at Cocoa. You dare to attack me from my back when I said it's over. Cocoa gulped, fearing the outcome as she took a couple steps back. Oh, one Isama, I'm sorry. Moka smirked and kicked her, sending the orange-headed vampire to the sky. Learn your place. I'm sorry. Moka sighed. Sometimes Cocoa could be annoying and out of control. The silver-headed vampire shook her head and observed her surroundings. Moka started to sweat when she saw the once beautiful forest has turned upside down, whereas broken trees remain on the ground, followed by dead animals and craters everywhere. Nevertheless, it wasn't her fault that it turned out to be like this. One Isama, cried Cocoa as she met the ground head first, creating another deep and large crater. Moka sent an amusing smile. Cocoa get up and grabs the backpack. We are going to rest for a while, she informed, walking towards a nearby tree casually. Cocoa nodded as she walked out of the crater and grabbed the still safe and sound backpack and shifted her eyes to look at her sister, who has seated on the ground comfortably with her back leaning on a tree trunk while closing her eyes. Cocoa sat beside her and asked, oh, one Isama, do you think I'm strong? Moka snapped an eye. Why are you asking me such question? Cocoa looked at her nervously. I wanted to know. I feel like I have grown up and yet here I still couldn't beat you in spars. Moka snapped, both eyes opened and tilted her head to look at Cocoa with a smile on her face. There is your answer, you are stronger than those previous years, yes, but you lack something, Cocoa, as she trailed off, narrowing her eyes when she saw one of the bush moved. One Isama. Snapped Cocoa, glancing at the bush her sister was looking at. Stay here, Moka whispered, alerted when she knew someone was eavesdropping under the past few minutes. Standing up from the ground, Moka ordered Kokoa to get ready in case anything happened and walks carefully towards the bush. However, when she was about to go there and kick their face, a blonde-haired teen jumped out of the bushes with a smile on his face. "Yo." The boy greeted, now she was confused. Moka blushed at being surprised so easily. "Hey, you okay? Your face seems a little red." Moka shook her head and pushed his hand away. "Sorry for following you guys, I was curious, not many people visit this side of the village, and I was excited after I saw you guys fighting with each other," he explained, while kicking and punching the air. Moka was taken aback by what he said, so he was like a stalker that enjoys fighting. But what can he do? He was just a human being like everyone in this village, right? Oh no. Sometimes she regretted when she forgot to ask something to her parents. Does a boy like one in front of herself have those special powers? But what's with the whiskers on his cheek, is he a Nico or a Kitsune? She failed to notice as Naruto stretched his right hand. "I'm Uzumaki Naruto, it's nice to meet you." Startled at first, Moka nodded as she shook his hand with her. She was trying to be polite with someone new, and especially since the boy was the same age as she was. "I'm Akasha Moka, and that one is Shuzen Kokoa," she mentioned. Naruto nodded, giving Kokoa his foxy grin. "It's nice to meet you, Kokoa." Kokoa disagreed, charging at him and punched him straight in the face. "Shut up. How dare you, thinking you have the right to call us that casually?" "Kokoa!" shouted a horrified Moka as she saw Naruto flew and hit a nearby tree with a thud as the boy planted face first on the ground. "Sorry about that, Naruto-san." Moka apologized and helped him standing up. Naruto nodded and laughs dismissively as bloods trickled down his nose. The girl was staring at him rather weirdly. Naruto was taken back when Moka was suddenly leaning on him. "Your scent is too strong, I cannot take it anymore." "I'm sorry," he heard her Moka's faint voice as the girl merely inches away from kissing him. Naruto blushed, realizing what she was doing, and unexpectedly Moka tilted her head to the side, slowly reaching his neck. He didn't know what was going on, but when he closed his eyes, he could feel something bite on his neck. The blonde widened in surprise when Moka was sucking his blood. He didn't say anything and looked at Moka's sister, Kokoa. She was annoying, but there's no way in hell he's going to say that at her out loud. "Hey, stop." He moaned, trying his best to push her away, but to no avail. Moka was planning to suck him dry. "Moka." He tried to call her name, but she was still enjoying his blood. The blonde sigh. He was going to die because of blood lost, and to think that only a few people will visit his grave was kind of sad. The blonde started crying, but he stayed silent, letting only waters leaving out of his eyes. Kokoa frowned. She didn't know what's going on, but she was sure that her sister was drinking the blonde's blood. She sent Naruto a glare. How dare he make One-Sama drink his blood? "One-Sama!" shouted Kokoa desperately once she realized that Naruto will die if her One-Sama continues sucking his bloods. Moka was in heaven, enjoying herself. The taste of his blood was so delicious, she could even taste a slight ramen flavor in it, but still she couldn't stop drinking. The girl heard someone shouting her name, but she couldn't shake the feeling to stop drinking Naruto's bloods. The silver-headed vampire froze when waters were dropping on over her shoulder. The girl opened her eyes and widened in surprise to see the blonde was crying with a happy smile. "I'm sorry." She apologized straight away. She could see the color of his body start returning, and he eventually stopped crying and sat down on the dirt while rubbing his eyes. "It's okay, I was just surprised that you drank my blood." "Oh, about that, it's because I'm a vampire." "Vampire?" He pondered. Is she that cool creature that could fly on the air and fight with some enhanced strength? Wow, it's hard to believe that she was a vampire. Moka started trembling. She has said it, she told him about her race. The girl closed her eyes, not wanting to see him running away, and after all, he was her first. "Sorry, do you have anything against vampires?" she asked, still not wanting to open her eyes. She could hear him saying something, but it wasn't loud enough for her to hear it. The girl reopened her eyes when a hand seemed to touch her shoulder. Moka turned around and saw it was her sister, while Naruto still in a daze. "Well, Naruto?" she asked again. The girl was hoping that Naruto doesn't hate her race and wanted to be friend with him since they didn't have that many friends. "No way. Why should I hate vampires?" he exclaimed loudly, whilst Moka and Kokoa sighed in relief. "Besides, if all vampires are as cute as you are, I don't really mind meeting any of them," he said, making her blush and look away from the blonde. Moka quietly mumbles, "Idiot." "So do you guys want to be friends?" Naruto asked with a smile as Moka nodding and look over a hesitant Kokoa. "Kokoa?" Moka snapped the little girl, making her nod and smile at Naruto. "Great." He cheered and dragged Moka away, following by her sisters. "Let me show you guys around the village." "Wait," Moka shouted, halting the blonde. He ponders in thought, looking at the silver-headed vampire. "We cannot do that, Naruto-san," he heard Kokoa's voice as the boy tilted his head to look at the girl in confusion. Kokoa pointed her finger at the dusk sky. "You see, we are only allowed to stay here before dark." "Ah, I see." Naruto nodded in sadness as both vampires leads him back to wherever he saw them last. Naruto gritted his teeth. Was this just a dream? A couple of minutes ago he became friends with Moka and Kokoa. But now they are going and probably he was not going to see them anymore. "Well, this is goodbye, huh?" asked Naruto, not in sadness, when he saw Kokoa has entered the portal. Moka turned around and sent Naruto a smile. "No, tomorrow we will see you here again at the exact same time and place." Naruto widened in surprise as happiness overcomes those sadness in his eyes. "You will do that for me?" To assure him that she was telling the truth, Moka does something she never done to a stranger. She embraced him. "Yes, I will do that for you. After all, we are friends, right?" Not expecting the sudden hug, Naruto blushed and gave her a foxy smile in return. "Thank you, Moka-chan." That caused her to blush as Moka ran through the portal, hoping Naruto didn't see her blushing. Watching the portal disappearing into nothingness, Naruto smiled and returned to his apartment. In a matter of days he finally have someone that he could call friends. He really likes them, especially her smile. "Good night, Moka-chan," he mumbles and went to sleep with a smile plastered on his face. When Moka had gotten through to the other side of the portal, she noticed Kokoa was white as ghost. She shifted her eyes to look at the person standing in front of Kokoa with arms crossed. "Where have you been? Didn't I tell you to return home before dark?" asked an edge Akasha, narrowing her eyes at both of them. "And what is this scent she smell from them? Did her daughters meet any shinobi over there?" Kokoa gulped. She doesn't know what to tell her mother when she and Moka actually met and become friend with one of those humans. "Hey Kasama," Kokoa started but was interrupted by Moka. "We did some training after doing the spar, and the timeline between there and here is quite different," Moka stated with an amusing smile on her face. Akasha raised one of her eyebrow and started to muse herself. "And please inform me how different the timeline between here and there." Moka gulped. She didn't expect to hear her mother saying that. What does she know about the village their father has sent them into? Wait, she did mention something about her dad being arrogant and… Akasha smiled when she saw that pure horror on Moka's face and decided to make a statement. "You see, my dear daughter, I've been into that world not just once but many times, and I made some great friends there. It was amazing that those humans could create a different yet the same energy as us Yakais. So don't try to deceive me." Kai-san. Moka nodded nervously. She wasn't trying to deceive her since she knew that she was telling the truth. She then heard a laughter coming from the shadow, and there she saw her father casually walk into the living room and sat down on the couch with a cup on his hand. The man cheerful drank the liquid inside the cup before it shattered, shocking them. After the girl stepped inside the portal, "You said you've got some problems to take care of. So Issa dear, what are you doing here?" Akasha questioned with a sweet smile that made him gulp and sends his beloved wife a nervous look. I. However, Moka interrupted him with a question that made him smile and mentally shouted, "Thank you. Tusan, can you please tell us about those powerful humans you mentioned from that village?" "Sure thing, Yusum," he smiled and told her to sit. Those included Kokoa. "You see, many years ago the people from that world don't know how to use chakra, thus making them weak, the same as the humans from our world. But what made them change?" "I'm getting into that." He twitched a bit annoyed when Kokoa interrupted him. Akasha decided to hear this bad old-time story as she sat next to her daughter, Moka. "Anyway, thousands years ago a princess ate shinju, a fruit that rarely grow for around 100 years. The woman then. Hours later. And that's how chakra born into the elemental nation." He smiled and sweat dropped when he saw them sleeping beside Moka. Elemental nation, so that's their continent, strange name yet quite fitting. Moka ponders into thought and nodded before walking to her room, completely ignore the crying and I'm tears man, what she would call her father. The silver-headed vampire changed her attire into a white long sleeping gown that she would always wear before sleeping. Moka slowly reached to her bed and rested her head on the pillow with one thought in mind. "Naruto, are you one of those shinobi?" A knock came, snapping her out of her thought. "Come in," she yelled, informing the person as the door opened and walked in Kokoa, holding a pillow on her left hand, whereas her other hand hugs a brown teddy bear. This caused Moka to raise her eyebrow. "What do you want, Kokoa?" "Owani-sama, can I sleep with you?" Kokoa asked nervously, making her sigh. "Yes, it is fine, just this once." "Thanks." She cheered and jumped onto her bed, resting beside her. Both vampires stare at the simple white ceiling, with neither of them dare to say anything until Kokoa asked a question. "So Wani-sama, what do you think about Naruto-san?" "HMPH, he's nothing but an idiot," Moka answered simply, earning a sweat dropped from her before smirking. "Why is that, Wani-sama? Is it because his words and smile make your heart flutter?" The bam could be heard, sending Kokoa to a nearby wall and fell down with stars on her eyes and a big lump over her head. "Idiot," shouted Moka, and quickly pulling the blanket over her face hiding her blush and quietly went to sleep. Haha giggles Coco reaching to the bed and went to sleep with a smile on her face. Maybe meeting Naruto-san is not a bad idea. Naruto woke up the next morning with a huge smile, since he somehow knew that Moka would keep her words and come today. He hurriedly got dressed and rushed out the door to get his morning ramen with one thought in mind. I can't believe I finally made some friends. Naruto took his usual seat at Ichiraku's and ordered one miso ramen old man and make it quick. Wondering what the rush is, Tucci gave him a questioning look. Now that's unusual. Normally you would have 10 bowls before leaving. You know me too well old man, but not today. Naruto smile, you see yesterday I made some new friends and promised to meet up soon. Glad to see you made some friends. Tucci said happily handing the ramen he has ordered, you really deserve them kid. Naruto could only smile and started drooling when he saw his delicious ramen. Getting a chopstick Naruto shouted, I did Akamasu. Haha chuckles and amused Tucci as he grabbed the money from the table and sat on the chair watching his favorite customers eating his food. Akasha, Moka and Shuzen Kokoa sat on one of the tree branches, waiting for one Uzumaki Naruto to arrive. It has been some time since they sat here and this irritated Kokoa. Why are we keeping waiting for him Nisama? I am sure that he run away too scared to meet us, vampire stated Kokoa with a sigh as her eyes look over the horizon. Hearing what she said Moka frowned and shook her head when she remembered the sadness in his eyes. No Kokoa. I am sure he will meet us here. Maybe there's something holding him up. That is why he is running late. Kokoa nodded. She was still unsure about Naruto. To her no to them he was a mystery, but that doesn't mean they cannot be friend and meeting each other. Hey guys. Speak of the devil there he is running through the grassy field whilst waving his hand. Today he was wearing something different. He was wearing a black hooded jacket with a bit orange on it. He was also wearing black matching pants and black shinobi sandals. What took you so long? Moka demanded with a frown on her face. Moka is scary. Naruto shuddered hearing her tone and shook his head before answering her. I was eating my breakfast and I thought that you and Kokoa would be here later since you are not from here. Kokoa smirked as a fat-looking bat, yet cute, flew right above her before turning into a weapon, a hammer. That is unacceptable. Kokoa shouted as she jumped down and swung the weapon. Reacting on instinct Naruto did a backflip and dodged her attack. What the hell Kokoa? Shouted a sweating Naruto as he kept dodging her weapon. You're late. That is the reason you damn blondie. She shouted angrily as she kept swinging the right and to the left, but the damn human kept dodging her. In curiosity Moka raised her eyebrow as she saw Naruto keep dodging Kokoa's weapon rather smoothly. The way he shifted his eyes and those stance he used was something that most monsters would do when they are into fighting. Jumping down off the tree Moka rushed towards both Naruto and Kokoa. She lifted her hands and grabs a hold of Kokoa's hammer surprising Naruto. What are you doing One-sama? Shouted Kokoa making her twitch, annoyed that her younger sister shouting at her face. Be quiet Kokoa. Be but. I said silence. I stuttered a nervous Kokoa. Seeing this Moka smiled and turned around staring at the nervous Naruto. What's wrong Moka? Questioned Naruto with a gulp as Moka unexpectedly punched him in the face. Not expecting her to punch him Naruto was sent flying through the air and hit a tree. Naruto groaned and slowly sat on the ground, whereas his eyes looking into Moka's crimson eyes in disbelief. What the hell Moka-chan? He questioned. Moka shook her head and extended her hand before mocking him to come and get her. Fight me Naruto. Confused by this Naruto slowly stand up and went into a fighting stance. Hey are you sure? I mean I don't want to hurt you he trailed off as he dodged an incoming punch. Moka smirked and raised her leg and kicked Naruto straight in the stomach. Then the unexpected happened as the Naruto she kicked was replaced by a log. What the hell? Both vampires thought in surprise. Now that wasn't nice Moka-chan they both heard a voice from a nearby tree and saw Naruto walking out of the shadow with bruises and a trail of bloods. Moka looked at him in curiosity before charging into him and engaged the blonde in close combat. Left. Right. Left. Right punch. Damn that hurt. He groaned as Moka's fist once again hit him, but this time he was prepare and hurl in the air before standing back on the ground and engaged her with the same tactic she was using, close combat. Unlike before whereas Moka in the offensive this time she was taken by surprise and went into defensive as Naruto randomly throw punches and kicks. You are slow she mocked, but Naruto didn't say anything and did a ram hand seal. Now what is he doing Moka thought eyeing the blonde carefully. Bunshin no jutsu. Naruto shouted with a visible burst of large blue chakra enveloping his body before a puff of smoke appeared beside him. Seeing the poor clone standing beside him Moka sweat dropped whereas Koko laughs out loud. What with this clone? Shouted Naruto in embarrassment as the three of them saw the clone fell down on its knees before disappearing in a puff of smoke. That was lame Naruto-san. Commented Koko laughing uncontrollably. Naruto pouted. Be quiet. I know that wasn't the best technique I have but one day I will be strong and I will have lots powerful techniques. I promise that. Moka smiled and went back into a fighting stance. That is acceptable, and I expected you to keep your promise. Now come Naruto, show me what you got, show me what a shinobi is. Shinobi, Kokoa thought in surprise as she eyed Naruto carefully. Remembering her father's story, she shook her head and denied, there is no way Naruto-san is a shinobi. A shinobi was strong, they could climb trees, walking on waters, producing strong techniques. And Naruto wasn't like them. He failed miserably to make a simple clone. He is not a shinobi. 1 hour later we have a panting Naruto and a limp Moka with her back rested on the ground, not able to move. Kokoa cannot believe that Naruto could do such thing. Sure, her sister was at advantage, then he done something that managed to surprise Moka. Apparently through their fighting Naruto was using a tactic and managed to trap her using a ninja wire, making her unable to move and thus ending their battles. When she fought Naruto, Moka was amazed and yet a bit disappointed. He wasn't like the shinobi in her father's story. Noticing the frown on her face, Naruto asked, "Are you okay, Moka-chan?" The silver-headed vampire shook her head and gave him a smile. "No, there is nothing wrong, Naruto. Now come on, you promise us to show the village. Did you not remember?" Hearing this, Naruto smiled and quickly helped her, standing up before grabbing her hand. Moka blushed surprised by his action and punched Naruto straight in the face, sending him once again flying into a tree. Kokoa shook her head as she joined them and the three of them walked towards Konoha with smiles on their faces. Though both vampires eyed Naruto, they're still disappointed with the performance Naruto was giving them. Once again he saw the disappointment in their eyes and asked, "Is something wrong?" "No," Moka quickly said, but Naruto knew something was wrong with her and grabbed a hold of her arm. "Don't lie to me." He growled, gritting his teeth, surprising them both. "Is it because the way I fight you? I am not that good, I know." It's not that." Moka denied when she saw the sadness in his eyes. "Don't lie," he whispered, hurt that Moka trying to deceive him. "I'm not like you, alright. I'm not strong, not yet. But someday I will, and when that time come I will become the strongest Hokage, and I will protect this whole village and thus who are precious to me," he proclaimed with a big smile on his, whereas his hand rested on his chest. Touched by his words, Moka smiled. "I am sure you will. Then do not lie to me ever again," he whispered, holding up his tears. Moka nodded sadly. She was disappointed how she acted towards her first friend. "I will not lie to you ever again, Naruto." Naruto smiled and grabbed a hold of Moka's hand and continued to walk forward, leaving a thoughtful Kokoa behind. Just in 2 days her sister was acting different in front of the blonde. Was this a sign of weakness? Hopefully it is not, since she believes that she was in the same shoes as her sister. Naruto was still dragging Moka around by her hand as he kept showing them many places that many people would visit, but strangely when he mentioned the shops, it didn't seem like he was excited to tell them about it. Eventually they stopped in front of what seemed a huge round building that was painted in red and has a fire symbol signed on it. Amazed seeing the building stood in front of them, Moka and Kokoa gave Naruto a questioning look. "What is this place, Naruto?" "That place is the Hokage mansion, Moka-chan." Kokoa, Naruto smiled and motioned his hand at the Hokage faces, and above it, we could see the Hokage mountain. Moka shifted her eyes to look at the Hokage mountain and looked back at him. "Wow, that's amazing. So this is what a shinobi village looked like." "Yup," nodded Naruto with a smile. "I will surpass all the Hokage ever alive, and one day the village will have my face up there." "PFFF, yeah right," Kokoa mocked, much to Naruto and Moka disappointment. "You haven't even mastered the clone technique. You do know that you have to be the strongest in order to become a village leader," Kokoa commented, remembering their dad's power. "I see." Naruto nodded solemnly. It seems no one believed him, not even his new friend. "Ignore her." Moka rested her hand over his shoulder. "I will believe you." She smiles, reassuring him. Kokoa though frowned and shook her head before they continue walking the streets of Konoha. After some time walking around the village, Naruto stopped smiling and talking when some familiars people blocking their way. That were the same thugs that usually caused him trouble and sent him to the hospital. Naruto stretched his hand in a protective manners and told Moka and Kokoa to stay away from his business. "There you go, brat. And here I was worrying that you wouldn't show up," shouted the leader, taking out a long blade followed by the others. Naruto gulped. They never done this before. The thugs would always use their fists to hurt him. Naruto looked at the surprised Moka and a bit of fear coming from Kokoa. It hurt him to see that he was going to lose his first friend rather quick. "I'm sorry." He apologized and took the vampire's hand before running towards the portal he saw them disappearing into. "Naruto, what's wrong?" Moka asked. "Surely those people won't do something troublesome, right? There are too many people around them and there's no way that they will kill them, so why the hell were they running away from them?" It's just. Don't look back," he shouted when they stopped in front of the same portal he saw before. Moka wasn't sure, but she ordered Kokoa to enter it. She was about to enter it but decided to go against his words and turned around. Moka widened in horror when multiple blades seemed to found its way on the blonde's body. Moka cried and was about to help him when Kokoa caught her, holding her body with all her might. "Kokoa, let me go," she growled, but her sister was too strong, and all she could do was scream and plead for Kokoa to let her go. She saw Naruto fall to the ground with a smile on his face. The blonde was bleeding, and even bleeding he was happy, and gave her a sad look and said something rather shocking to her. I told you not to look back, didn't I, Moka-chan? Please go and have a great day. I will always remember you guys no matter what. I really like all of you. Especially you, Moka-chan." The blonde laughs at the end before falling into unconsciousness with a pool of blood surrounding him. Moka screamed for him to wake up with tears freely falling down her eyes. She couldn't believe it, her first friend, and her first blood, or maybe her first crush, was dead. Dead with a smile on his face. Why were the humans so cruel? Moka couldn't take it anymore and she fell into unconsciousness. "I'm sorry, One-sama," Naruto-san thought, a guilty Kokoa with tears falling down her eyes, and entered the portal. Then seconds later the portal was closed with Naruto body on the ground, still breathing, but barely. The people around him were laughing and shouting that the demon brat was finally dead. The next moment they were all dead by the hands of the third Hokage. Shuzen Castle. Issa looked at his daughters with surprise. He didn't know what happened in Konohagakure, but what he saw worried him greatly. He saw Moka unconscious, fresh tears still on her face. He looked at Kokoa and saw her crying as well. "Bring her to bed," he said to his servant, who nodded, after which he picked up Moka and headed for her bedchambers. He could feel the eyes of his wife boring into his head. He knew it was his fault, and his wife would be keen to remind him of that fact. The man looked at Kokoa and narrowed his eyes when he saw a small stain of blood on her clothes. "I want explanation." He ordered her. Was sending them to Konohagakure a bad choice? It wasn't like that when they stayed in Konoha for 6 months and meeting those two. Kokoa didn't say anything and ran to hug Akasha. She didn't know what to say to him. Besides, she already promised Moka that she wouldn't tell their mom and dad about encountering Naruto, even though they already suspected it. 1 week later. Akasha Moka finally opened her eyes. She had fallen into a short coma because of the traumatizing events that happened before. "One-sama," shouted Kokoa whilst hugging her. "One-sama, Otu-sama used one of his technique to prevented us entering that place. This is not a dream, right? Naruto-kun is not dead, right?" She yelled at her sister, hoping it wasn't true, hoping it was all just a dream. After all, she kept dreaming about him. Kokoa was taken aback by her action and the suffix she used to call Naruto. She looks at her sadly. Her sister was in so much despair that it actually hurt her. "Naruto-kun is not dead, right? He promised to us, didn't he?" she asked with Kokoa nodding. "Yes, he did. But you must accept this, One-sama. Naruto-san is really dead." No, that's not true. He promised us that he would become Hokage and will not die until then." "It's the truth, he died, Ni-sama. But he was my first friend. I like him. There's no way I can find someone else that could actually replace him." "I'm sorry, Ni-sama, but you must accept that he has died. After all, he was a human being. There's no way he was going to survive." Moka heard her loud and clear, but she didn't say anything. She was still crying. The girl was sad. She would always receive this feeling. Why does God like to mess with her life? She hated it with her entire being. Naruto was her first friend. She never had a friend before beside him. People would enjoy playing around with Kokoa or her other sisters rather than with her. She hated it. She wished that meeting Naruto was only a dream, but it wasn't. He was real, and he has scarred her with his presence alone. Moka didn't know what else to say. She gave Kokoa a sad smile and nodded at her twin, confirming that she was fine, and walked back to her bed. It didn't matter anymore. She would always be alone and without anyone loving her. Yes, she will accept that. After all, it was her fate to be unloved. Kokoa sighed in relief and looked at her sister's retreating form. She knew that she was sad. She herself was also sad that Naruto died. The girl closed her eyes for a moment, then an image of a smiling Naruto appeared. He was kind, nice, caring, fun, and maybe loyal. The girl shook her head and reopened her eyes. The girl thought over about him for a moment. Sure, the Naruto was handsome, but he didn't matter to her like her sister was, and he has dead, so there's no point thinking about him anymore, right? He was a great friend. He was a human, but he doesn't hate monsters like them. Then 3 weeks later, Akasha disappeared. Moka once again was heartbroken when the people she cares keep disappearing. Not able to take this anymore, Issa decided to make a move in order for her sadness to disappear. Issa placed a seal on the rosary Akasha gave him before she disappeared. "Do-sama. I'm sorry, Musume, but this is the only way for you to forget about them. One day you will return, and when that happened you will have someone you could call friends, and maybe even lover. And remember, the rosary could be taken off by someone who cares for you greatly." "That is a see you later, Musume," explained Issa, with sadness appeared in his eyes as red and black energy swirling around her daughter. No, I don't want this new." She screamed with tears as she saw her hair changed color to pink. Her once crimson eyes was turned to emerald green. Moka started to get sleepy with her surrounding turning blurry. The man what she called father was slowly changing into someone he met 3 weeks ago. Naruto was his name, a great friend and a potential lover. But he is dead, there is no him in this world anymore. She was alone in the pit of darkness with no memory of the past and was bound to the rosary on her chest. "Naruto, save me," she whispered desperately, much to Issa's surprise and curiosity. "Who is this Naruto? During the time of war we felt anguish, fear, hatred and sadness. The fourth great shinobi war broke out. A single enemy proclaiming he will start the ultimate genjutsu and trap all mankind so that peace would be bestowed on the elemental nations. The declaration of a single man caused the Kages of the 5 great villages to panic but eventually came up with a plan to unite and crush the madman. Thus the Shinobi Alliance was created. Its purpose was to crush Madara and his troops and hide Uzumaki, Naruto and Killer Bee from the enemy. But fate seemed to have another plan. At some point the enemy found out where they had hidden the 2 last remaining Jinchuriki, human sacrifice. Kabuto sought to capture them but was stopped by Tsuchikage. However, Naruto's new powers sensed the war and thus he and Killer Bee joined the war. Naruto created clones powered by the 9 Tails chakra to go to every battlefield to support everyone, while himself and Killer Bee went straight to confront the lunatic claiming to be Uchiha Madara. Naruto fought the man claiming Uchiha Madara and discovered that he wasn't what they seemed to be. No, the man standing in front of him was someone that goes with the name of Uchiha Obito, a teammate of Hatake Kakashi and a member of his father's team, Namikaze Minato. He fought him alongside Killer Bee and tried to take down the Jinchuriki corpses, but he almost failed until Kurama the QB no Yoko decided to help him, thus they became a partner. But by then Obito has successfully brought the 10 Tails back to the world and things were getting out of control when the Juubi used the Biju Udama on them. But luckily the Shinobi Alliance forces came in Ino at the last second, disturbed Obito's concentration and changed the direction of the beam towards a mountain. Uchiha Sasuke then came up and helped them. He was fighting Madara and Obito alongside Sasuke and the revived 4 Hokages. Naruto didn't know what's going on when he saw his father, he wanted to talk to him, but he knew he couldn't. At least not now, not when there was an primordial god in front of them hell-bent on destroying the world. Later on Naruto and Sasuke concentrated and by combining their powers, the Susanoo armor covering Kurama's body, and they managed to stop Obito because of Naruto, pulling the 9 chakra entities out of his body. But Naruto was too late when Madara was brought back because of Obito, and things got worse from there. No one could defeat the Uchiha, he was surprisingly stronger than any of them, even the 4 Hokages couldn't bring him down, and just like that Naruto and Sasuke got killed while trying to kill Madara. Madara successfully extracted Kurama out of Naruto whilst stabbing Sasuke right through his heart with his own sword. They knew at that moment they are going to die until someone showed up inside their mindscape. It was a white-haired man wearing a pure white Haori with Rinnegan marking on his forehead. This man was none other than the Rakuto Sannin, the founder of Ninshu not Ninjutsu, Otsutsuki Hagoromo. The man gave them power, the power of controlling yin and yang energy. After meeting the Rakuto Sannin and Gaara moving the yang Kurama inside Naruto, both of them were revived and they got even more confidence than before since they could feel the power running course their chakra system. But even so they still couldn't take Madara down, the man was so powerful that even with the help of Otsutsuki Hagoromo, they still couldn't defeat him. Things was getting even more worse when Madara activated the Infinity Tsukiyomi. Everyone on Earth were trapped under the illusion inside a tree cocoon except 5 people. They are Naruto, Sakura, Kakashi, Sasuke and above all the still alive Obito. They were surprised and confused when Madara got betrayed by his own right-hand man and he were revived as a new person. His appearance was slowly changing, he slowly took an image of a woman. The woman has a delicate facial features, she has an extremely long, sweeping light color hair that touched the ground. They saw 2 horns-like protrusions that were stuck out from her head. The woman has the Byakugan and also a third eye like Hagoromo on the center of her forehead, that's the eyelids parted vertically. Her eyebrow were cut very short showing a symbol of nobility, and she wore a dark shade of lipstick on her lips and a dark shade of nail polish on her long fingernails. The Gaia was wearing a transitional high-collared Haim kimono, which was adorned with intricate lines and tomo running down the center and edges of the gown. But now it wasn't the time to check on someone's appearance, the blonde-haired shinobi looked further behind the woman and saw that Kakashi and Sakura was perfectly fine. Thanks to him, Kakashi got back an eye and Sakura, well, he trusted her that she could handle herself. Below them was an unconscious Obito, he wasn't dead, just tired, and Kakashi or Sakura wasn't someone that could help them defeating Kaguya. TCH, all he got is a chest Sasuke. You ready? Naruto asked rolling his eye and saw that Sasuke was smirking, he got bruises all over his body, but Naruto knew his friend could help him. This is the time to put a good use with Hagoromo's power. Whenever huff your huff dopes. Sasuke smirked between panting, there's no way he was going to lose against Naruto. Before things could escalate too quickly, Kakashi stepped forward, his eyes were looking at Naruto and Sasuke with a smile under his mask. The silver-haired Jounin narrowed his eyes when he was looking at Kaguya. What is your objective? Kakashi asked with sweats dripping down his face. He could feel the strong enormous aura she was giving them, and to tell the truth her chakra, it was unmeasured. He doesn't know how powerful this woman is, but he got a feeling that she was even more powerful than Uchiha Madara himself. However, he was worried that since Naruto and Sasuke with their new godlike power couldn't take Madara down, and if this woman was more powerful than the Uchiha was, well, it's time to say bye-bye. Kaguya closed her eyes, she was enjoying the sensation of getting hit by the small wind breeze, after all she has been sealed inside the moon for many centuries. The woman reopened her eyes and tilted her head to the left, she was looking at the two people standing in front of her, and more especially she was looking at Naruto. The blonde reminded her of something that once dearly loved her and betrayed her. Yes, he reminded her of her son Hagoromo, and the boy beside him reminded her of Himura, her second sons. Kaguya turned around and narrowed her eyes at Sakura, the pink-haired girl wasn't a threat, she was the weakest link among the four of them here. Kaguya trailed her eyes down to look at the crouching Kakashi, he was strong, she could tell just by looking at him, but he was currently low in chakra, he was not a threat, but a possible threat. Kaguya scoffed, all of them here possess the same chakra as her, and yet they are questioning her authority, their chakra is her, and no one could have them unless her, but she decided to humor them and answer the silver-haired man question. My objective is this place, this earth is my precious nursery. I cannot allow anyone else to damage it anymore, let us end this battle. Here I shall erase you all from existence, right now. Kaguya smirked, her eyes was staring at Naruto and Sasuke as the ground beneath them shook and one by one the ground started falling, below them appeared a field of lava. Naruto gaped in surprise as he along with everyone was falling down, but Sasuke acted fast and summoned his eagle to catch Naruto. Sighing in relief, Naruto looked below towards Kakashi, Sakura and surprisingly Obito, he was there still unconscious with his palm embedded by a kunai into a cliff. Kaguya narrowed her eyes, so they are all just weakling, she expected more than this especially from the blonde kid. Naruto and Sasuke widened in surprise when Sasuke's summoning disappeared since it couldn't take the heat, thus causing both of them to fall. Naruto growls and started yelling when he's suddenly floating. Sasuke deadpanned, so the blonde idiot could fly. Why he didn't do that in the first place? Right, he was an idiot, that's why he couldn't do that. I heard that. Naruto mumbles, he felt Sasuke emotion, the emo duck but feeling annoyed at something, and then he could feel his emotion changed, it was like he was mocking someone, which he guessed was him. Naruto extended his hand as it travels towards the falling Sasuke and caught him before he could land on the lava. Sakura breathed a sigh of relief, she was looking up towards the kunai and saw that it was attached to a big rock. She hopes the rope wouldn't break and things going to be fine, eventually the rope stretched and loosened itself. Naruto widened in surprise as he saw them falling. Sakura-chan. He yelled out as his hand separated to three parts and caught both of them including the unconscious Obito. Naruto dropped them on the ground and sent Sasuke a nod. Nodding back, the last Uchiha body was covered by purple-colored armor, it was his perfect Susanoo, and in this mode he could fly just fine like Naruto. Be ready, dope. TCH, there's no need to call me that, team. The guy raised her eyebrow watching them bickering with each other, so both of them are supposed to be rival. Like her sons. The silver-haired woman closed her eyes as an image of Hagoromo and Himura appeared, and when she reopened her eyes, she could see the image of them on Naruto and Sasuke. The woman quickly disappeared into a strange black hole teleportation and appeared right behind Naruto and Sasuke, her hands shot forward as she gripped their neck tightly while shedding some tears. My sons Hagoromo Himura, she mumbled sadly with tears dropping from her angelic feature face, the woman didn't know what else to say, they are her sons, and it is time to put them to sleep. I'm sorry my sons, but enough playing, it is time for the both of you to go to sleep. Naruto gritted his teeth while Sasuke grunted, both of them are stuck against some woman grips, and the hell with her calling them her sons, Hagoromo and Himura. Naruto's hand trembled as it found a way to hold her hand as he sent a glare to her, an image of a red-headed woman with a smile on her face, and a smiling blonde-haired man appeared inside his mind. You're not my mother, there's no way someone like you will ever be my mother. Naruto snapped in anger trying to push her away. But Kaguya didn't budge, her grips was too strong, and it didn't get any better when half of their face slowly being covered by black zetsu. Sasuke was getting frustrated, like Naruto he has tried to break free, but she was too strong. What's the purpose behind all this? Sasuke asked trying to buy time whilst his mind thinking for a way so they could escape from her grip. Though Kaguya didn't say anything, she couldn't say anything since her mind was clouded by memories. Her sons were here and they are playing a dangerous game with her, it's already past their bedtime, it is time to put them to sleep. Hearing no answer from the silver-headed woman, Black Zetsu decided to humor them and told them the true story behind all this, why he exists and the purpose he have in this world, including why chakra existed. He told them everything, from the beginning of the Shinju tree. Kaguya consumed the fruit causing her to go into some undergo changing, and Hagoromo and Homura defeated her and sealed her by creating a moon. Then he explained that he has watched Hagoromo teaching his childrens and saw them debating with each other. The fool think he has created peace, but all he did was causing more chaos and creating more war for centuries. After that he told them he has changed the Uchiha's stone table, manipulating Uchiha Madara, the incarnation of Indra. He saw the Uchiha and the Senju boy battling with each other, neither side was winning until Hashirama tricked Madara and stabbed him with his own sword. Deciding to help Madara, Black Zetsu told them that he has fooled the man thinking that he was his willed. He told them everything, he was the cause of wars, he manipulated almost everyone, and he did all that so he could achieve one thing, to revive his mother, Otsutsuki Kaguya. Naruto growls, he was mad, no scratch that, he was furious. The reason he didn't have parents, everyone suffering and peace never ceased to exist was because of Black Zetsu. You are not my mother since a mother never threatened her child. Naruto growled angrily as the chakra shroud covering his abs starting to take in a shape of a hand and a blue orb sphere was created. Let go of us. Just like that his chakra shrouded arm thrust the Rasengan completely hitting Kaguya in the stomach. Not expecting the power, Kaguya flinched, she was taken aback completely by technique as she flew across the air, hitting a certain hill. Sasuke mumbles looking away from the blonde whilst scratching his chin out of embarrassment. So much has happened in this war, yet he never done anything, except to follow Naruto's shoes just like he once did to his brother, Uchiha Itachi. Naruto reminded him so much of Itachi that is why he doesn't like the blonde. Yes, he treated the blonde like a sheer rival because of jealousy. Naruto smirked in amusement, no problem. Naruto and Sasuke narrowed their eyes when they saw her rose from the ground and disappeared into her black nothingness teleportation. Naruto shifted his eyes to look at Sasuke. Change of plan, Sasuke. Right. Nodded the raven-haired Uchiha as he went into a fighting stance and prepare for the outcome. Listen Sasuke, this is the plan. Taken aback by surprise, the Uchiha scowled. What the hell Naruto, that's the most stupid idea a ninja has ever come. We wouldn't know unless we try the jutsu, team. Naruto growled, he knew that wasn't the best idea. But he remembered that certain day where the technique managed to put Sarutobi unconscious. And then we die, Sasuke stated dryly. HMPH, at least that idea have work against one certain Hokage, Naruto mumbles to himself, but the Uchiha could still hear him. Sasuke sigh, shaking his hand in disappointment, his friend is being stubborn. Naruto and Sasuke narrowed their eyes when they saw Kaguya flew out of the portal going towards them in a full speed. Be ready Sasuke. Naruto smirked. Just don't embarrass me, Sasuke mumbles back in reply as bloods trickles down out of his left eye. The silver-headed woman saw bloods trickles down his eye as she used that certain speed to change direction, completely dodging the black flames of Amaterasu. Kakashi raised his eyebrow when he saw Sasuke missed aiming the Amaterasu as he saw the woman rush towards the unsurprised Uchiha. They are planning something, he thought wearily as he saw Sasuke dodge the woman bloodline technique before disappearing in a flock of ravens and appeared right behind her with his hand holding his katana. Everything was so fast around them, thanks to the Sharingan he could barely track Kaguya movement. The woman was about to elaborate him with her bone technique that once contact could eradicate anyone. I've got you, Kaguya smirked in victory as the time seemed to move in a slow movement, her hand was thrust forward and the bone was about to touch Sasuke until he disappeared in a flock of ravens. No, I got you, the Uchiha smirked back as he held the kusanagi on his right hand and swung down the sword, attempting to slice her in half. Mother. Widened a surprised Black Zetsu as he saw Sasuke cut his mother in half. The Uchiha grinned thinking that he has won the battle until her body reformed back to normal. Not enough, Homura at his game over, the silver-haired woman stated as she went for the kill. Sasuke gasped as Kaguya used his katana to stab him right in the chest. His lips slowly stretched as he weakly pointed his finger to the left. Confused, the silver-haired woman tilted her head to the side and there she saw a grinning Naruto with his hands on a T signed. Here come the most anti-pervert technique, sexy. Reverse harem technique. Naruto exclaimed as puff of smokes covering his entire body. Once the smokes disappeared there fly 6 different males in nude. Both Kaguya and Sakura flew across the air ground as bloods trickles down their nose with a pervert grin on their face. Hey, I told you it worked. Naruto shouted whilst sweat dropping, followed by Kakashi and Sasuke. HMPH, well done, idiot. Shut up, freaky eyes. What was that dope? HMPH, know your place, team. Kakashi sigh, there they are bickering with one another. Sometimes he wonders if such teens like them existed out there. Somewhere in fairy tale. Natsu and Gray sneezed. Okay, stops it. HMPH, you started. Sasuke hummed for a moment as he disappeared into a blur and rushed towards the daydreaming Kaguya. What are you waiting for, idiot? Sasuke questioned as he saw the blonde growled and rushed towards Kaguya as well. Let's hope this works, they pleaded as they thrust their palms opened, showing two strange symbols, a yellow circle that looked like the sun and a black crescent that looked like the moon. This is the yin and yang energy. The powers that could only seal Kaguya back inside the moon. While in the air, Kaguya snapped her eyes open and did a backflip and grabbed the surprise and unguarded ninjas. It's time to end this there, she said those words as she threw Sasuke inside a portal. Sasuke widened in surprise as he hit the ground head first. He quickly turned around to look at the small pathway portal. Damn it, she managed to separate me from Naruto. He growled in anger, they are now outmatched with her power. The Uchiha clenched his hand into a fist and begun observing his surroundings. Apparently he was standing right in the middle of deserts. Step after steps he slowly took as the raven-haired Uchiha walked around the desert in hope finding a way out. Taken aback by surprise, Naruto was standing a couple feet away from Kaguya. Apparently the crazy woman tricked them and used that moment to separate him from Sasuke. A bead of sweats rolling down his face as Kaguya and himself went into a staring contest. The blonde-headed shinobi decided to summon his clones as they surrounded him, protecting him from Kaguya's threat. Clone and clones, you keep using those coward technique, he heard the woman comment. Meh, yet they are effective to gather information, Naruto stated boringly. Everyone has said that almost all his techniques are useless. Yet, he used the useless techniques to defeat powerful enemies. I guess you are right. Though I shall now not worry about you tricking me again. Since the Uchiha is now trapped inside my dimension. Kaguya stated. The blonde shrugged, he couldn't care less about Sasuke. He knew team could take care of himself, so there's no need to think about him right now, right? Alright everyone, let's defeat this crazy woman. He ordered as the clones nodded their head. Kaguya raised her eyebrows as she saw them move towards her. They are fast, yes, but in her eyes, they look like a moving turtle. Hey, I just need to aim for the real one. She shouted mentally as she rushed towards the real Naruto. Thrusting her palm towards the blonde, a 30 centimeters bone shot forward and stabbed the blonde right in his stomach. He gasped in surprise as his body turned ashes. Kakashi and Sakura gasped, Naruto has died. That woman has killed him. No, our only hope is gone, Sakura cried. Even if she was the strongest woman in her generation, she knew that she didn't have a chance to fight Kaguya. She feels hopeless now. The unconscious shinobi slowly stirs and looked at both of them with confusion in his eyes. It seems God have another plan, they heard him sigh. Kakashi decided to help him and gave the weak man a hand. Thanks Kakashi, he smiles for the first time. No problem Obito, Kakashi smiled back, though they cannot see it since the spiky silver-haired man mouth was covered by his damn black mask. The awoken Uchiha observed his surrounding. He saw Naruto everywhere, Madara seemed missing, and Black Zetsu was siding with Kaguya. How many more people is Black Zetsu going to trick? Obito shook his head, this was not the right time to think about that yet. He was searching for Sasuke, yet he couldn't find him. The ex-Jinchuriki narrowed his eyes when he saw a small portal. Sasuke is missing, Obito stated as he tilted his head to look at them and Naruto his. I'm right here, a smiling Naruto appeared beside Sakura. Startled Sakura looked at the Naruto that stood right beside her. Hey, are you the real Naruto? She questioned as the blonde nodded. I promise everyone that I will not die until I become the Hokage, Sakura-chan. Exclaimed Naruto with so much confidence that make her believe him. In Konoha he was the inspiration for everyone to become stronger, without him they are sure they won't have any motivation to get strong, the will of fire totally live inside of him. The white-haired Uchiha smirked as he stared at the confident Naruto. Hehe, he chuckles lowly, promise me this Uzumaki Naruto, no matter how people treated you, promise me that you will never change. Sure, sensei. Naruto grinned, shocking the once villain. He wasn't expecting to hear that from him. He believes himself has failed everyone he loves. What? Obito is his father's student and to him through the war the Uchiha villain has become a teacher. Obito has lectured him about many stuff he promised himself not to forget and learn through Obito's mistake, so he will not have the same fate as the Uchiha. Alright, gathers around fellow ninja, Obito ordered as Naruto tilted his head to look at him along with Kakashi and Sakura. Obito pouted, that is fine anyhow, I've got a plan to get Sasuke back. That's great, Naruto smiled as he, no, they begun to listen at Obito's plan. Alright now Sakura, I wanted you to grab my hand, and he was interrupted by Kaguya as she threw a long spear made of bone and disappeared into a blur as she appeared in front of Obito with her hand shot forward. She was about to kill Obito until Kakashi made a move and used the Rikiri to anticipate her attack, thus holding her in place as she dodged a fearsome lighting technique. Quickly forming the Rasengan, Naruto appeared in front of her in a flash of yellow and thrust his hand forward, planning to hit the Rasengan in her stomach. That technique has fooled her once and there's no way she was going to be fooled twice. Bones erupted out of her stomach, protecting her from taking damage. But Naruto wasn't done as he appeared right behind her and planted a paper bomb right on her body. Katsu. They heard the blonde shouted as the paper exploded, sending Black Zetsu and Kaguya to the ground. Know your place. Naruto smirked as he did a roundhouse kick enchanted by chakra, sending them flying through the air. Damn it. She growled as she flew through the air. That damn child once again has overpowered her. She needed to come up with something, or soon they are going to get that damn uchiha back and seal her back for another centuries or maybe forever. Wow, startled the three shinobi. Under a couple of minutes Naruto managed to brought Kaguya down. But they know that wasn't enough. She was an immortal being, and no matter how much damage she received, time will her injuries. Alright, good job Naruto. Now Sakura, we are going, Obito stated, staring at Naruto in astonishment as his body swirls around and Sakura disappeared alongside Obito. While they are gone, we should focus our attention back to her, Kakashi warned his student as the blonde-headed smile, giving his sensei a nod and looked at Kaguya beating his clones rather easily. A couple of hours later, after Obito sacrificed himself to protect them, Naruto used the Rasen Shuriken mix with Obituous chakra at Kaguya, making her natural chakra overloaded. The woman was now covered in white. She looked like a plumed fruit with heads of the 9 Obituous covering her body, and she couldn't move. Kakashi, who was floating in the air, looked below to look at his smirking students. Naruto. He shouted, snapping him back to reality as the boy rushed towards her. But fate wasn't that as the woman changed back to normal. Her once overload natural energy chakra has receded to their normal state. Damn you. She growled and threw random techniques at them. The three shinobi, not counting Sakura, dodges the techniques rather easily. Concentrate, mother. Don't lose your cool. Black Zetsu scowled with a sweat on his face as he watched his mother throwing random jutsus at the two shinobi that kept dodging her attacks. Shut up. The angry Kaguya growled, completely ignoring Black Zetsu and rushed towards the prepared shinobi. The woman though fell under their trap as 1,000 clones of Naruto surrounded her. Kaguya gaped in surprise but released a heat of energy that quickly dispelled the clones. Smokes filled the surrounding as she observed the clearance and prepare for any surprise attack. Dodge this if you can. She heard that blonde idiot shouted from the smokes and saw the Rasen Shuriken flew towards her at an amazing speed. Cool. The woman thought, smirking slightly as she extended her hand forward and absorbed the technique. She was surprised when the Rasen Shuriken technique exploded in smokes and turned into Naruto as the 16-years-old shinobi punched her straight in the face. Meeting his fist, the silver-haired woman flew across the air as Kakashi appeared from behind and punched her from the Susanoo armor, enchanting his strength. The woman, taken back by surprise, flew back towards Naruto as the blonde-haired Jinchuriki performed a normal Rasengan and hit her right in the stomach. Kaguya's eyes widened as she gasped in surprise when she saw Sasuke rush towards her with his hand extended, showing the black crescent symbol. Naruto. She heard the raven-haired Uchiha called out his friend as she saw him moved and done the same thing as him. Kaguya growled and did a flip and planned to escape this sealing technique by flying below towards the escape route. But Kakashi was there blocking her way from escaping her punishment. Mother above. She heard her son voiced as the woman nodded and flew upward. That foolish child, she stated with a smirk, thinking she has escaped. There's no way I'm letting you go, Shanro. She heard a righteous female voice as her eyes widened in surprise when she saw Sakura punched her right on her head and send her flying down. The two symbols on their palms, a black crescent like moon and a yellow circle like the sun, met her skins. Kaguya could feel herself losing her power as she glared at Naruto angrily. I'm not going to die without me taking someone. She shouted angrily as she formed a hand seal and a black portal appeared right below Naruto. What the Naruto thought in surprise as the last thing he saw and heard was Kaguya sealed inside the planetary devastation technique and 3 people calling his name as the world around him turned blurry, eventually passing out. Hagoromo snapped his eyes open when he feels Naruto and Sasuke chakra met with Kaguya as the man appeared out of thin air and thrust his hand upward, forming one of the mysterious yet dangerous technique, the Jibaku Tensei. The ground below them shook as the dirt below lifted upwards and surrounded the unconscious woman. Slowly but surely it turned into a moon as the technique continued to push her away from the earth. The man turned around and was about to thank them when he saw Naruto disappeared inside the black portal. Naruto. He heard their voice calling out for his name desperately. It seems I am too late to stop that technique, stated a frowned Hagoromo, gaining their attention as the 3 shinobi looked at him with great hope. Does that mean you could bring him back here? Kakashi questioned, and much to their disappointment they saw Hagoromo shook his head. Sadly no, it is too late for me to do that. So we lost him? The angry Uchiha growled as he glared at the old man floating in front of him with his legs crossed whilst crossing arms. You are the Rakuto Sannin. You should know something about that. Despite the shouting and glare he got from Sasuke, the man just smiled, thinking about his son, Indra. In the end, Sasuke was someone that truly cares for his friend. No, that is something beyond me. Even if I do know, my life force isn't enough to bring him back here. Sasuke clenched his hand into a fist and gritted his teeth. He was mad, no furious. The man was the most powerful and the oldest shinobi. Yet he doesn't know anything about that teleportation technique. He was about to retort the father of ninja when Kakashi put his hand on his shoulder whilst shaking his head. Don't, Sasuke. All we can do is hoping that he could come back here, safe and sound. Crowning the Uchiha sigh in defeat, sending a nod to his sensei, and begun to look at the horizon as he saw the sun rises with its light glimmering in the sky, giving them a very beautiful view. Unconscious, the Uchiha clenched his hand into a fist whilst gritting his teeth. Until his back, I cannot settle my score with him. Naruto's eyes slowly started to open, and he found himself almost reflexively scowling in annoyance as he was met with the familiar white walls of a hospital. He groaned, he hated hospitals. Wait a minute, hospital? His eyes fully snapped open in surprise as he sat up on the hospital bed. Looking around, he found that he wasn't in a hospital room he would always recognize. "You're awake," a man's voice broke him out of his thought. Naruto turned his head around and saw a man leaned on the wall, wearing a priest outfit, leaned with a grin on his face. Weird, Naruto thought for a moment, observing the man's outfit. Yeah, how long have I been out? He questioned the man nervously and wondered how he ended up in this mess. Blast, he remembered the black portal enveloped him and then nothing. From there on forward he cannot remember anything, but how can that be? Still, he was thankful that the technique didn't erase his memory completely. The man hummed as he walked at the foot of his bed. 3 days. You were injured when we found you lying down outside the academy. Your face was almost as pale as a sheet of paper, actually. And you seemed to have absolutely no energy left in you, whatsoever. We were actually surprised that you are still alive, human. Hearing the man's tones, Naruto flinched and wondered what he meant by saying that. Isn't he a human too? What do you mean, Aji-san? Aren't you a human? The man's eyes seemed to glow for a few minutes, freaking the boy out as he heard a chuckle escaped his mouth. You could say that I'm far more superior to the human. Batman? He questioned. The man chuckled, Batman? Ha. That guy was still a human, but he actually liked the movies, and to think this kid think he was a Batman, the possibility saving those weak humans. No, I am not Batman, and do not say that again. Sorry, Naruto mumbles, a bit embarrassed that he said something outrageous. Naruto closed his eyes trying to contact Kurama or the other Biju's chakra, but all he got was silence. The blonde snapped his eyes open when he felt the bed shook. There he saw the man sitting down near his feet with that smirk still on his face. Okay, this is a weird question, but where am I? Mikagami stood still as he saw the child's closed his eyes, deciding to take a seat. The man sat down on the bed beside the teen's feet. What he saw surprised him. The teen for a moment has that look of a warrior, those who has witnessed war. This boy is not normal, is he? He wondered as he heard the teen's question about where he was. And that is indeed a weird question. You see, boy, no human has ever managed to get through the barrier that was designed by me and certain someone for many years. I am quite surprised that you didn't know about this place, he stated, casually staring at the child's blue eyes. Right now, you are inside Yokai Academy infirmary room. Yokai Academy? Yes, a school that I built in order for monster to coexist with humans. You see, our world has two fractions, yokai and humans. For many centuries these two races has gone through many wars, and as years passed, we yokai lost against the human because of their advanced technology that caused us to hide. Some stayed behind and got killed once the human found out they are monsters. Because of that we created this school so monsters and humans could someday coexist with each other. The man explained with sadness filled his tone. Naruto nodded as he looked at the man solemnly. I see you have very noble dreams. It seems the cycle of hatred still spread around the world. HMPH, you seem to know much about the cycle of hatred. Mind telling me about it? The man asked politely, hoping this unique and mysterious child to explain about himself. Naruto nodded, there's nothing he needed to hide. Maybe it's better to tell him, and maybe by telling this the weird old man could help him return to Konoha. Well then you better get yourself comfortable because this is going to be one of a hell awesome story. Very well then, brat, I am eager to hear it. My name is Uzumaki Naruto. I am the son of Uzumaki Kushina and Namikaze Minato. On the day I was born my village was like he said before, there's nothing he needed to hide. Mikagami listened to the child's story, it was surprising if he must say. He never thought humans like Naruto actually exist. Akasha has once said that she and her husband, Issa, met strong people from that world, the elemental nation. There they met two wonderful and nice people ironically named Uzumaki Kushina Namikaze Minato. So you are their childs, huh? He asked, interrupting Naruto. Yeah, I am. But, how do you know about them? Let's just say I got a friend that has visited your world, Mikagami stated casually, causing him to freeze as the memories about him meeting those two to resurface. What's wrong? Are you not going to tell me about your story? He questioned, wondering why he just froze like that. Naruto shook his head and told the man about Kurama attacked his village, his ninja career, the fourth great shinobi war, meeting the Rakuto Sannin, the origin of chakra, and finally defeating Kaguya. I see you are stuck here and you wanted to go back there. Naruto nodded with a smile on his face as his eyes filled with hope. Yes, that's what I wish for and I hope you could help me. Mikagami chuckled, unlike Akasha and Issa, where Minato helped them to go back here in a couple of months, he need the whole 4 years to do that. He's smart, yes, but still he doesn't have the knowledge with the time and space technique. I see I could help you regarding that matters. Naruto's face lifted up in happiness. Really? You could send me back to my world? Come on, I needed to go there now. Mikagami chuckled whilst shaking his head, no, I cannot do that now. To make the key I needed the whole 4 years until, then I believe you cannot go back to your world. Oh, the down, Naruto said between disappointment and sadness. Then where am I going to stay until you finish making the key? Here, of course. Where else, Naruto-kun? By doing that you could help me protect the school from the shadow. It will be perfect because you are a ninja. Mikagami smirked, thinking about certain reports he always received every year because of the lack of security the school have. Beside this year he believes a human will attending the school. Naruto frowned, him going to school. Is the guy mad? But after thinking for a while the man was right. If he stays here he doesn't need to take care of other thing, and all he needed was staying here for 4 years. Nothing is wrong with that, right? Should I accept his invitation? 4 years doesn't take long, and all I've got to do was watching the school from the shadow and attending the classes. I'm sure I'll survive. Beside, Konoha doesn't need me now since they got the team and Kakashi is pretty strong himself. I think I know the answer. Well, brat. What do you say about this matter? Of course I'll join the school. It will be interesting to protect monsters since I'm myself a human. But promise me you will finish making this key on the exact same year. The man shrugged, he always keeps his promises. Of course, he smiles, handing Naruto a form that took him 5 minutes to fill. Alright, Namikaze Naruto? He inquired. A few minutes ago it was Uzumaki, now why the hell the boy did change it to Namikaze? Well, new life, new identity, I guess. He chuckled, laughing sheepishly whilst rubbing his hand on the back of his head. He wanted to try using his father name since childhood he used Uzumaki, so now is the perfect time to use his dad's surname. Mikagami shrugged, good thinking. Alright, Namikaze Naruto, the school will open in another week and tomorrow I needed you to go with a bus driver to pick up something for me. Until then, take care of yourself, Naruto-kun. He turned around and stopped in front of the door before placing a key down on the near table. That is a key to your room. All the stuff you needed will be there and I hope like myself you could keep your words just like that. The man walked out of the room and closed the door behind him. Naruto chuckled as his eyes gazed outside the window. I always keep my words because that's my ninja way. Naruto sat peacefully in the room as the rays of the sun shined into the room. The dorm was a nice room, square 20 by 18 feet. It was enough to fit a nice size bed, a desk with a single chair, a fridge, a closet for clothing and a microwave. Standing up, Naruto hummed before walked over the window and opened it only to receive a cold blast of wind, causing him to shiver. Now wide awake from the blast of cold air, Naruto went into the bathroom and turned the nozzles. Holding his hands together under the running water, he leaned over and splashed his face a few times before reaching out for a towel on the handle and dried his face. Walking out of the bathroom, Naruto approached the closet. Getting dressed, Naruto wore a school uniform consisting of a white collared shirt, brown pants, a green blazer and red tie. He was a bit disappointed there wasn't a hit of orange in it. And here he thought Mikagami would hear his suggestion about changing the uniform color green as just too much of a reminder of Guy's and Lee's flame of youth. Kurama rolled his eyes. He had to agree with the blonde regarding that matters about the uniform being a reminder of those two ridiculous busy brows mans that would always shout flames of youth and that unbreakable gain jutsu grr. Just thinking about that made him shuddered. Looking at Naruto through his mindscape, the orange nine-tailed fox chuckled out of amusement. This was your choice and you knew it will be troublesome, so suck it up, brat, you better get used with the school uniform. Kurama said in a reminding tone. What was the blonde idiot thinking? He chose this school instead of finding a place to settle in and have his own family. But no, he chose this place, and here he is again watching the blonde being a student and study in some creepy looking high school built for monsters. Well, let's just hope the idiot doesn't become the dead last like the old times. Naruto frowned at that, closing his eyes for a moment. Once he snapped them, he was standing on a water surface with Kurama stood in front of him. He was still looking the same, big fluffy orange furs and 9 huge tails swing on his back. His once cold and angry demeanor has been replaced with a calm, collected facade. Yeah, I knew that, Kurama, Naruto sang happily, causing Kurama to twitch as a tick mark appeared in his head. But do you want to stay in this world forever? I mean I could find a place to settle in somewhere in this dimension and start a family, but you knew that it would be different, don't you, Kurama? My heart will be empty and hollow because it will not be same. My friends, everyone I cherished for are not in this dimension. Every passing day I would always think about them. The fourth great shinobi war has ended, but I didn't know what happened to them, and just thinking about that made my heart ache in pain. Naruto ended the sentence with a sad tone, causing Kurama to nod. He knew all about that. Hell, he cared about the brat, but after everything he has been through, he to start anew here and forget about the past, and also the blonde needed to find a mate. Not that Hinata, don't get him wrong, he liked that girl too, but Hinata is too shy for his liking. And a sudden thought entered his mind, those two vampires, girl, they're yokai too, right? Heh, maybe his host going to Yokai Academy was not going to be a bad thing, and here he thought his life going to get boring. Kurama shrugged his shoulders, sounding like he doesn't care at all. That's what you said, but look at where we're. Besides, don't you dare say that you're all alone. Kurama growled, surprising Naruto. You've got me and my other siblings. And besides, this is not the Uzumaki. Naruto, I would always know. Wait, you're taking your father name, didn't you? The fox sent him a questioning look. Naruto nodded and continued to listen. Kurama has a point, this is not like him at all. Ah. Forget it, kid. What I'm trying to say here, you can move on, you're namikaze. Naruto, you never know when to give up. Surely moving on is a big task, but you could do it and find new precious people just like those two vampires. What were their names again? Moka. Mangkok. Ugh, I remember her name is Moko and the other one Kokoko. Kurama ended with a warm smile on his face, though Naruto raised his eyebrow. The blonde couldn't help but palmed his face. What's with Kurama mentioning those two girls suddenly? And the way he addressed their names are wrong, damns it. It's Moka and Kokoa. Not Moko or Kokoko. Naruto corrected and raising his voice, making the QB no Yoko pout and looked away with a stream of tears running down his eye. Hey, what's wrong, Kurama? Naruto looked at in confusion. What was the fox doing crying like that? Wait, is that the tears of joy? Seriously, something must have happened to Kurama when Kaguya sent them here. Must be something involving the fox brain, if he have a brain, that is. Ignoring the blonde's thought, Kurama grins, turning around to face the blonde. The nine-tailed fox sent the blonde a mental image of a grown-up Moka wearing nothing but bikini. Look kid, this is her, your favorite childhood friend. Akasha Yamoko, isn't she hot? The now happy QP no, Yoko asked, raising his voice at Naruto, even though he was standing a couple meters ahead of him, and the fact he was addressing Moka name as Moko again. Hearing the name again, Naruto could feel a tick mark appeared on his forehead. Stupid Kurama, Naruto thought as his hand palmed his face. He couldn't help it, but needed to do that. Shaking the thought of his head, Naruto mesmerized the image Kurama provided him. It was an adult-looking Moka with a smile on her face, and she has beautiful long silver hair that reached down her knees, two pairs of crimson eyes with black slits like cat that attracted him. Shifting his eyes down, the blonde couldn't help but grin perversely with bloods trickle down his nose. Moka has two pairs of huge freest, a bit smaller than Tsunade, nonetheless it is still big, and that ass. Dang, she's hot, and that bikini made her look sexy. The thought of seeing her looking like that actually turned him on. He's horny just seeing an image. What's wrong with him? Damn Jiraiya and his influence. Kurama. Stop it, we are just friends. Naruto scowled at the grinning fox that dropped the illusion with a pout on his face. Kurama looked really cute at that moment. Although he looked cute doesn't mean that he agreed with Kurama. No, to love someone you needed time. It cannot happen just by looking at the person. Then Naruto's eyes softened, looking away he mumbles something under his breath, but still Kurama could hear him. For God's sake, he has two pairs of huge ears. Besides, we haven't met each other since that incident. When he heard that, Kurama's heart ached in pain. The fox knew that incident has scarred his life, even though he never showed it. The fox knew deep within him he has a grudge against the villagers who has done that to him, though he could never hate Konoha and its people. But still, the fact that Naruto was supposed to be dead if the third Hokage wasn't there, luckily he was there along with him, the one who has kept him alive and has healed almost all his unhealed injuries. Don't worry, kid. I assure you that you will become more than friends, Kurama said truthfully in a soft tone, remembering the affection the silver hair vampire was giving. She trusted the kid, whereas her small sister, what was her name again? Kokoka, or was it Kokoa? He couldn't tell. Fuck it, what kind of parents names their childs after drinks? Alright, the vampires. Anyway, what he was trying to say is that she believed in him. She was the first person he encountered that trusted him fully. Naruto nodded. The thought of having a relationship with someone wasn't a bad thing. He wanted that. Hell, he was planning to start a relationship with Hinata after the war ended. Oh well, he guessed that won't happen, huh? He couldn't even tell Hinata how he feels about her, and the possibility of them to be together has been ruined by Kaguya. Damn that witch. Naruto inwardly sighed, turning around. The blonde prepared to leave, a smile grace upon his face as his head tilted to the side, barely looking at the lazy fox. Heck, keep that thought to yourself, but right now I've got things to do. Talk to you later, furball. Kurama nodded with a smile, watching him leave his mindscape as he saw the blonde disappeared in particles of life. Kurama dropped his smile when he realized something. The kid has called him furball again. Damn it, kid. How many times have I told you not to call me furball? I am not a furball, I am Kurama, the mightiest tail beast ever to exist. Kurama shouted in a loud booming voice that made Naruto ears cringe painfully, covering it, he groans and cursed the fox name underneath his breath. Nope, there's still the Juubi, you forgot to mention him, or was it her? Naruto snickered as he grabbed his school bag and walked out of the dorm before closing and locking the door behind him. Smiling, the blonde couldn't help but wonder. Is this place really built for monster? The school ceremony has ended, the headmaster has dismissed everyone to go back to their respective homeroom, or in their case, the freshmen needed to find their homeroom. Naruto was walking around the school hall trying to find his homeroom. He didn't know how much has passed, but he started to get worried when he saw the students continue to decreasing. Everyone but him has founded their homeroom, damn it. Mikagami and that creepy bus driver has told him where to go after the ceremony ended, but seeing him having some trouble, Kurama started chuckling before it goes into a full-grown laughter. Instead of turning to the left, you should continue walking straight. You should see your homeroom after you pass the stairs, or whatever those midgets called it. Kurama told him in utter amusement, making the blonde nods and follow the great Kurama GPS. Before he knows it, from afar the blonde could see the number of his homeroom. Ah, thank you, Kurama. Naruto shouted mentally and ran towards his homeroom. Kurama just shook his head. He was a bit disappointed with Naruto. After war ended and trapped in this dimension, the blonde started to forget about certain things like direction, for example. It is not like him, nope, not at all. Wait, on second thought he might be wrong on that matter. After all, this is Naruto. He was an idiot after all. Yet, he was the one who ended the fourth great Shinobi War. A familiar voice stated from a couple meters away from him. His figure were covered by the shadow, yet he knew who this person was. 8 long tails slowly swaying on its back, its mouth were open, indicating he was speaking to him. Kurama smirked, well, this is a surprise, he believed they will show up later. Long time no see, Jayuki. Kurama greeted and barely raising his hand up in the air, once more his mouth were open, indicating he was yawning. Jayuki could feel a tick mark appeared on his forehead, hand were clenched as he approached the 9-tailed demon fox at a great speed, causing Kurama to slightly took a step back and be prepared for his attack. But he was interrupted when a large figure shadowing him, covering all his shit. Kurama internally cursed and tried to dodge. Ahahaha, got you, you damn lazy fox. Shukaku shouted as his tail sways side to side on its back, his paw were touching Kurama's back, making him unable to move, and the sound of groaning could be heard. But much to his annoyance, the fox wouldn't give up and continues to break free. Even struggling, Kurama managed to make a bijuadama. Get off me, you stupid raccoon. The fox shouted and fired away the bijuadama, making the one-tailed raccoon froze as the whole black mindscape were filled with whiteness. On his way there, Naruto halted his step and put his hand over his forehead, a cold sweat running down his cheek, and a moment later he started to get dizzy. And what the hell is that sound? Was it explosion? But where is it coming from? His mindscape. Closing his eyes for a moment, Naruto snapped them open and mouth was gaped in surprise. His mindscape, everything about it was a mess. The hell did you do, furball? The blonde shouted in surprise as his eyes quickly locked onto Kurama, not even noticing the 2 large figures standing a couple meters ahead of him, or in Shukaku case was on the ground with smokes covering his body. Kurama growled and pointed one of his sharp claws at the drunken-like state Shukaku. It was not his fault of him firing the bijuadama. Shukaku was too heavy, the damn raccoon is freaking fat, and the fact Shukaku jumped down to him could actually kill him, if not the jump, the lack of oxygen will. He did it, brat. Don't blame me. Hee damn it, now I've got to wash my back, I swear I could feel sand on it. Naruto gave Kurama a deadpan look. The hell is that supposed to mean? Kurama shook his head. You don't need to know about any of it, Naruto, it's kinda disgusting, I must say. Pausing for a moment, Kurama gave Shukaku a smirk. I do wonder though, how did Gaara manage to put him in place? Kurama mocked, earning a growl from the smoking Shukaku, who was now rising from the ground and glare at Kurama heatedly. What did you say? Shukaku snarled, rushing towards Kurama as water splashes everywhere, and once reached he butted his head on Kurama. Both tail beasts glare at each other as they continue fighting for dominance. Jayuki, who was watching this, shook his head. There's nothing he need to worry about those 2 idiots, and after the old men died, they still acted like children. Inwardly sighing, Jayuki rolled his eyes down to look at the deadpanning Naruto. Yo Naruto. How has it been? Jayuki greeted, and much to his horror, he realizes he's starting to sound like Killer B, damn him, and his bad rap, and now looked where that cost him, the guy probably laughing somewhere, thinking he has influenced him with his horrible rap. Not expecting Jayuki's voice, Naruto stared at the 8-tailed octopus confusedly before realization hit him. Oh, you guys are back, I thought it was just Shukaku. Anyway, what happened? Why is it taking so long for you guys to contact me? Naruto fired question after question, causing a certain tail beast to rub his template. We have a hard time contacting you, Naruto-kun. It was a female voice that made the statement. The said female was in fact a two-tailed cat demon. She was standing behind him with a disappointment expression which he might guess were given to Shukaku and Kurama. Seriously, they're acting like children. Although he heard her right, he still doesn't understand what she means, so the only best thing he could do was giving her a confused look. Can you explain what's that supposed to mean, Madatabi? Isn't it like all you needed to do is pinpoint my chakra location, even though now I live in a different dimension? It is. But it's not that simple, brat. Sun finished it for her, who was appearing beside her. His body was mostly covered by red chakra before it actually became him, the four-tailed beast monkey. You see, Naruto, this dimension is a bit complicated. Its energy was different, yet at the same time it was the same. And not just that, in this dimension the people are, should I say, human. Anyway, once we heard you disappeared, we tried our best to contact you. Even the old man couldn't help wait. He just said to trust our bond, and we done just that, and now we're here. I guess we're home, aren't we? Sun smiled, though Naruto couldn't see it because of the darkness. What he meant is that, we tracked you for the last few days using our chakra. It is a bit of pain in the ass, since you're too far away, and the fact your chakra was surrounded by this yaki or whatever this yokai call it. Making things harder, but with our power combined we managed to get over that and pinpoint your location. Though we should fix the disaster Shukaku and Kurama has made. Jayuki stated with Naruto nodding, hand were cupping his chin. Closing his eyes, Naruto started thinking about fixing the broken mindscape, and slowly his mindscape were changing. The darkness surrounding it disappeared, the once shallow water started to get deeper, mountains with forests could be seen from far away. Blue skies and white clouds covered the ceiling, and last but not least living things started rising from the green grasses. Now this is better. Isobu commented as he dived under the deep sea and explored the inside of it. Sun smirked and headed straight for the mountain, followed by Kakuo. Chimay started flapping its wings and took off, creating some kind of shockwave, causing the blonde to cover his eyes as dusts flew everywhere. Kurama, Shukaku, Madatabi and Seiken stayed there for a while and gave the blonde a thankful look. Before he could blink, almost everyone took off, aside from Kurama. He was just standing there staring at the blonde with curiosity. I admit this is amazing. Kurama commented and praised the blonde much to his delight, though the nine-tailed demon fox shook his head. He was about to complain until a certain madman stood below him. Oh, uchiha Madara. The fox licked its lips as the man stared at him with his eternal Sharingan eyes. Mouth were open, and before Madara could speak the man was eaten, and a second later, Naruto covered his ears as Kurama burped. Now that was fun. Kurama smirked whilst the blonde rolled his eyes. Say whatever you want, furball. Now play along with your siblings since I've got to go and attend a certain homeroom. Yeah kid, good luck with school. Kurama said in a sarcastic tone. Naruto scowled and disappeared in a flash of yellow. The nine-tailed demon fox rolled his eyes, seeing the familiar trademark of one Namikaze Minato. Show off. Back in reality, Naruto frantically observing his surrounding, it was now him, alone. Looking at his arm, the blonde checked his watch and froze. His late, damn it. Running as fast as possible, Naruto recalled what Kurama said a couple minutes ago about where to go, and just like that he was standing in front of a white door. Glass were attached on it, but it was blurry, making it hard for him to see what's going on inside the class. Though, he did hear voices about yokai this and yokai that. Looking up, Naruto confirmed that this is his homeroom. Get on with it. An impatient Kurama said. He was busy chomping humans, but he cannot stop watching after the blonde. After all, his family has entrusted everything involving Naruto to him, and one of them is attaining happiness. Hearing the voice, Naruto froze. He wasn't sure if he should open the door. Well, he can just turn around and walk away. No, don't you dare do something like that. Kurama scolded in a mothering-like tone, making Naruto sigh and nodded. Taking a deep breath, Naruto knocked on the door. The sounds of people speaking stopped for a while. Taking it as his cue, the blonde opened the door. His eyes stare at the female teacher for a moment. She was standing a couple meters away from him. She stood next to the table with a smile on her face. Behind her was the familiar school whiteboard with a large written "Welcome to Yokai Academy." Naruto's eyes were staring at the teacher. He was mesmerizing her appearance. The teacher has sandy blonde hair that reaches down to her shoulder. Her hair were shaped as cat ears. The female teacher was wearing a white blouse, orange skirt, low heel and sandals, and glasses over her eyes. I'm sorry for being late, sensei. The blonde apologized as his hand rubbed the back of his head, whilst a sheepish smile plastered on his face. It is alright. By the way, for the next 3 years I will be your homeroom teacher. The name is Shizuka Nekonim. You could call me Nekonim sensei. The now named Nekonim sensei said with a smile before gesturing her hand towards the students who was looking at him in curiosity. His ear would constantly twitch when he heard someone mention him being handsome. Now why don't you introduce yourself? I am sure everyone here is curious about you. He heard Nekonom-sensei's voice. Naruto nodded, he could feel their gazes were all into him, he was nervous, yes, but he was not a coward, nor was he get on with it. Much to his annoyance it was Kurama who interrupted his thought Harude. Taking a deep breath, the blonde slightly clenched his hands, he was still unsure about this fine, he could do it, and he will do it. A foxy grin plastered on his face making the girls blushes, whereas the boys groaned and cursed his name out loud. Yo Mina-san. The name's Namikaze Naruto, please take care of me. Naruto introduced, everyone stayed silent, a lone sweat dripped down his face as Naruto gulped and stared at everyone nervously. Did he do something wrong? Did somehow they found out about him being a human? No, that's not it, but what's wrong? It might be his introducing. Oh well, nothing could be done with that. Damn Kakashi and his influence. Naruto-kun. An almost seemed like familiar voice entered his ears, the blonde looked up towards the source of the voice hoping it was Moka, but much to his disappointment, it wasn't her, just similar looking. The girl has long pink hair, which he guessed reached down to her back, she has beautiful green emerald eyes and a rosary hanging above her wrists. She really did look resemblance Moka, her twin perhaps. Do I know you? Naruto asked, scratching the back of his head whilst giving her a sheepish smile, causing her eyes to widen in surprise, and before he knew it, the girl was standing a couple meters away from him. Fast. Naruto alarmed and prepare himself in case she done something dangerous. It's me Moka Akasha Moka. She shouted and latched herself on him, giving him a big hug with a stream of tears running down her cheek. I thought you died. But that's not it, right? You're real, you're here, you well are you? Turning around to look at her, Sensei Moka asked the same question. Well, he is standing in front of us all and recently introduces himself, so yeah, he is real, Akasha-san. The smile plastered on her face as she tightened the hug. I miss you, I really do, Naruto. Moka shouted, ignoring the sound of people groaning and curses about her hugging Naruto, and how Naruto caused her to cry to her today is important as the day where she met him, that wonderful day before those humans took them away. Naruto could only blush feeling her wrists rubbing around his chest, and a second later the blonde's eyes rolled back and he lost his consciousness. Everyone's sweat dropped. Nekonom-sensei could only giggles and stare at Moka in amusement. Akasha-san, since you is the one who caused this problem, I think it is best you take him to the infirmary room. Nekonom-sensei said with Moka nodding and internally cheers, she spun around, her eyes roamed around the classroom until it landed on a brown hair boy, pointed her finger at Tsukun. Moka gave her sensei a questioning look. Sensei, can I please have Tsukune Ono to help me? She just shrugged and let her do so, causing Tsukun to groan, but still helping the blonde. He was a bit jealous seeing Moka, the girl he has a crush with, has her eyes on someone else, and by the look of it, he knew he will lose straight away. He doesn't have a chance with this Naruto person. On the way there, Tsukun glances back and forth between the unconscious Naruto and Moka. So Moka-san, how did you meet Namikaze-san? Tsukun asked nervously, his eyes were filled with jealousy, and thankfully the Pincat didn't notice that. Moka hummed happily as her green emerald eyes stare at Tsukun. Well, I don't know much about Naruto-kun, Moka said with a frown on her face, shocking Tsukun. What does that supposed to mean? Aren't they like close friends or something? And doesn't Moka address Naruto as Naruto-kun? The suffix indicated they're close to each other, and yet, it wasn't me who actually meet him. But I thought you wait, never mind, then who did? Me. The real me, that scary Moka met him and became his friend. I'm not sure why I feel like this, but I believe like I knew him, yet at the same time I don't. It's strange. Moka explained with a smile, like she said she doesn't know why she felt like she knew the blonde, when at the same time she never met him before. This includes about the love inner Moka has for him. There was also a slight problem about all of these strange emotions. She knew she hates and despises humans, but she for some unknown reason she cannot hate Naruto. So why is it like this? She knew the strange feeling were somehow involved with the real Moka, but why can't she hate Naruto? He's a human like them. Does this feeling of hers somehow involved with her real self too? I see. Tsukun nodded, deep inside he was happy to know that he still have a chance to win her heart, but knowing Moka's true form liking the blonde made his heart pounding. He was nervous, no, he was terrified. What would have happened if that Moka hated him and told him to stay far away from them? Does that mean their friendship will end there? No, let's hope not. Naruto opened his eyes and was quickly greeted by the white painted ceiling. Ugh, did I just have a dream? He questioned with a loud groans, making the unnoticed figure to yawn cutely and stare at him in happiness. You're awake. Moka shouted in joy and hugged him, blinking in surprise. Naruto just stared at the pink hair Moka, slowly his eyes traveled down and glued on her wrists. What's wrong? She inquired and waved her hand in front of Naruto's eyesight. Noticing what he was doing, Naruto blushed from embarrassment and gave Moka an apologetic look. You look different. Naruto started with her still smiling. I thought you had silver hair and cute red eyes. Am I wrong? The blonde questioned as Moka shook her head and pointed her index finger at the rosary hanging above her frieze. The blonde shifted his attention down to her frieze hem, rosary. This here is the rosary. She started with Naruto nodding, obviously he knew that item, but what does that have anything to do with her appearance? Maybe he spoke too soon as that right moment the pink cat continued her sentences. The purpose of this rosary is to suppress my real power, the real me, the one you met in your childhood is now locked in here, she will not come out as long as this rosary is attached to its lock and because of that you got this me. Moka explained with Naruto nodding, though he was a bit confused about Moka using the rosary to seal her power. Why did you seal your own power, Moka? I am not sure. Naruto nodded and decided not to pressure her anymore, he stopped asking more question and just continuing staring at Moka. She looks pretty, she really does, even if this Moka is different from the other Moka, he knew this one still has the same kindness, and just by seeing her smile the blonde could feel at ease, and all the problem he have seemed to disappear just by seeing that smile. Moka called out, gaining his attention. The blonde tilted his head and rolled his eyes to look at her in the eyes. Her green emerald eyes seemed to flare in life as her lip stretches and form another smile, it filled with so much kindness and whamminess. It feels wonderful just being near her present and to see that smile. How did you survive that attack? Years ago when we first met you told me you're a human and I saw you got stabbed and then you fell and hit the ground with blood covering your body, yet you're here. How did you survive that attack, Naruto-kun? She questioned, making him froze. He couldn't believe it, Moka did actually remember about that incident, and what's with her addressing human? It's like they were some kind of disease or something, which he has planned to find out more about that sooner than later and hopefully solve whatever problem she has. Though thinking about doesn't make the situation any better, the pink hair vampire was still waiting for him to answer her question, and he knew that he shouldn't keep a lady waiting, or else the sequences will be far worse than asking simple questions. Naruto started to think about this carefully, a part of him wanted to tell her the truth behind his survival and him being the Jinchuriki of not one but 9 Bijuas, but another part of him was terrified about telling the pink hair vampire the truth. What would happen if Moka decided to ignore him and reject him like what Konoha previously done? What would happen if she? For goodness sake, just tell her, kid, she trusted you and I think you should trust her as well. Fuck about what happened in the past, she is different, remember? Yokai. They're not human, and they couldn't care less about a super powerful Biju sealed inside a human. Kurama explained as sagely as possible. Hearing the statement causing him mentally to roll his eyes, though Kurama was right and deciding to pay a visit, the blonde closed his eyes, but a moment, and here he was standing in front of Kurama with his arms crossed, eyes were glued on Kurama, crimson black slits like cat eyes. I'm not sure, Kurama, this Moka is different. Hell, you could see the difference between their hair and eyes. The old Moka has silver hair and crimson eyes while this one has green eyes and pink hair, which kind of reminded me of Sakura-an, not just that her personality is different than the Moka I used to know. Kurama rolled his eyes. Naruto was right, this new Moka era, fuck it, this Moka does resemblance like that Banshee Haruno Sakura, though much more pretty and cuter. Yuppie, admit the vampire girl is pretty and cute, problem. And about her personality, who would give a shit about that? What important is Moka still trusted him, it doesn't matter if her true self were sealed inside that thing he meant rosary. Okay, but what does that have anything to do with you telling her the truth? The fox asked, amusement were filled in his tone as his eyes twitched the moment Naruto ignoring him. Naruto doesn't say anything, he was too focused what he should say to Moka, he could just tell her everything now and think about the consequences later, but he let his fear control him and decided to go with plan B, telling her some lies. Paying back his attention to Moka, although he wanted to tell her the truth, he still couldn't trust her, not this early, maybe sometimes in the future he could trust her again, but it's not this soon, and he knew that the moment he was going with plan B. You spaced out, Naruto-kun. Moka scowled and lightly punched the blonde in the chest, though what she done make him widen in surprise, her strength almost lifted him off his bed, and the blonde winced in pain. Oops, sorry. She blushed out of sheer embarrassment and looked away. Rubbing the back of his head, the blonde gave Moka a sheepish smile. Haha, it's quite alright, and I'm sorry for spacing out, Moka. Naruto apologized and dropped his smile, the blonde gaze became serious as he clears his throat. Where do I begin? Well, to tell you the truth, I wasn't dead, I was going to die if the third Hokage didn't come and save me by stopping all of them, which is killing them on the spot. The blonde paused, waiting for her to comprehend everything, receiving a nod from her, the blonde continued. I was in a critical condition, if Tsunade wasn't there I would have been dead, but since she could heal almost anything, and I mean almost, she could cure all your disease and injuries, thanks to her I am here in this school now. So that's the reason he was here. It doesn't make that much sense, or maybe that's because she doesn't know much about Naruto's home, but the facts still remain, he was here. Why did he go to this school when he knew this place is for monster? And not just that, how did he arrive here? If her memory serves right, she was able to visit Naruto's dimension because of the portal her father has created. That portal allowed her to jump back and forth between her dimension and his. Why? Huh? Why would Moka? Naruto questioned, surprise were written all over her face. Why did you come to this school? You knew this school is dangerous even for the humans of that world. You could die here, Naruto-kun. Why don't you go back? Moka asked, firing question after questions. Naruto didn't say anything. He sent a glance at her for a while. He could see the worriedness all over her face. Inwardly sighing, Naruto looked away. He wanted to go back, but he can't, and until the headmaster finished making the key he would stay here for 3 years, and if not, well, let's just say he will stuck here forever. Because I have my own reasons, Naruto simply answered. What else could he tell to her? Hey Moka, I just arrived in this world through some crazy portal that was made by a crazy witch named Otsutsuki Kaguya. Nope, that's not going to happen. Though unknown to Naruto, Moka has made a conclusion about him being transported here. He should have known not to mess around with a vampire mind. I see. Moka trailed off and looked away, so her theory was right. He must have somehow ended up here and couldn't go back, but to know he doesn't trust her made her heart ache in pain. Is that what he is now? A friend that doesn't trust anyone, even herself. But that's fine, she too has secrets, and at the moment she was glad he doesn't ask anything more than her rosary. I understand. Naruto and Moka stayed silent until the school bell rang, indicating it was recess time, or so was Moka thought. Nah, Moka. He called out, gaining her attention as the pink cat nodded her head and looked at him. May I touch your rosary? He asked, making her eyes widen in surprise. The pink cat looked back and forth between the blonde and her rosary, and she was wondering why he asked that kind of question. Seeing the trouble in her face, Naruto sighed. Don't worry, I just wanted to check the seal. You know, I might learn something about it since I never heard an object like this caliber could suppress a demonic power. Oh sure, I guess. The pink cat nodded. She started blushing when the blonde moved closer to her. Their faces were inches away from another. If she has the gall to do it, she could just kiss him, and no bad thought, Moka. She mentally scolded herself as her eyes carefully trailing Naruto's hand. Naruto hummed as his hand touched the rosary. Within this close he could feel the power behind the rosary and Moka's heartbeat. Every passing second her heart was pounding faster and faster. Waits. She was nervous. But why would she observe first and ask later? Let's see, maybe I could remove it. He questioned and grasped the rosary. What are you doing? Moka shouted and reacted quickly by slapping away Naruto's hand. I don't think you should do that, Naruto-kun. Huh? What do you mean? Naruto inquired. The pink cat looked away. How should she say this? A part of her told her that it is fine. It's like that voice was telling her to let him do it, but another part of her disagreed. She was afraid to see Naruto hating her like those humans in Japan. At her old school she felt isolated, even though she was the smartest and always at the top of the class. No one wanted to be her friend and started picking names like, for example, Freak. That is why she tried to push him away. She's afraid being rejected by Naruto once again. She feels strange about this feeling. Where did all this came from? She never even met him, yet she feels like she knew him. It's the real me is scary and evil. I don't want you to get afraid of me. And she was abruptly stopped by Naruto. His hands were over her shoulder and brought her closer to him. He was hugging her. This feeling, it felt weird and warm. She never receives this kind of treatment from someone other than her family. Is that why she feels weird? But then what about the warm sensation? Why would she feel warm and safe? The more she thought about it, the more her mind became hazy. She could feel her heart pounding faster and faster. What is this strange feeling? What are you talking about, Moka? Why would I be afraid of you? Let alone to the real you? We've met before and I say we're pretty good friends, and all I wanted to do is to see her again, Naruto explained and gave Moka a smile, assuring her that everything will be fine. He could still see some doubts in her eyes, but as long as she listens to him it will be alright. He just wanted to see her, surely nothing bad will happen, right? Right? So please, may I pull the rosary off and see Moka? He pleaded, hoping Moka would let him. Hand stretches as the blonde's hand touched the cold silver steel. No. She shouted and tried to stop him, but she was too late as the blonde pulled the rosary off. Red lights illuminated the room, causing Moka's eyes to widen in surprise. No way, the rosary came off. Does that mean? Naruto doesn't know what happened, but he's starting to freak out when the whole room filled with so much chakra. Wait, no, Yoki. His eyes looked back and forth between the glowing Moka and her rosary. A nervous smile was plastered on his lips. Maybe I shouldn't have pulled the rosary off. Kurama scoffed. What an idiot. The pink cat has told him not to do it, but here he done something stupid and ignore her. You wanted to see her, here she is. Kurama said in a sarcastic tone. Naruto sighed. Kurama was right. He wanted to see Moka, the silver-haired Moka, but this aura, this is ridiculous. Is this the girl I used to know? Naruto mentally asked himself and stared at the glowing Moka with awe as the figure standing beside him changing slowly. Green emerald eyes turned to crimson with black slits on the middle of her pupils. Her long pink hair changed to silver, her frieze and her hips become bigger than the previous Moka. Her lips stretched and turned into a smirk, her eyes were glaring at Naruto. "Good day to you, Naruto-kun." Naruto doesn't say anything but stare at the silver Moka standing beside him. She looked exactly the same as Kurama has predicted. A blush spreads across his cheeks as the nervous smile turned into a horrific one. Realizing the glare she was giving him, the blonde gulped as a sweat drop dripped down his face, and the only words he could said are, "Oh hey there, Moka." So this part ends here. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, so quickly like this video for second part of this series. And comment down below your thoughts about this series. And now it's time for me to go, bye.